Namaste, dear viewers. Swamini ji will be joining us shortly. We are just having a few technical challenges at our ends. It will be sorted in some time. Please be patient and wait with us. Swamini ji will be with us in a while. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm here.
Namaste, Swamini ji.
Namaskar. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. It was just fine a couple of hours ago. And then, these kinds of, are you able to hear? Because I'm not on my microphone.
This is perfect, Swamini ji. It's
okay,
clear.
Perfect. And light and all is okay. Maybe I should turn on some light.
This is fine.
It will grow a little darker.
Dark in some time. Yeah.
I'll be right back. I'll turn on the light.
Sure.
Here we are.
Right. Shall we begin with a prayer, Swamini?
Yes, please. We definitely need the prayer after all this.
Indeed. Namaste, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to Weekend with Wisdom series. We will begin the session without a further delay with a short prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you mind recording? Because I'm not sure how to do this over here. And then you can just send me the Zoom link. That will be easier.
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, please record. And then
Yeah.
you can just send that to me. Thank you. We have been looking at Vijnana Nauka or Swarupa Anusandhana Ashtakam. Both are the same title, two different titles for the same text, basically. And we have been looking at verses 4, 5, and 6, whose purport is to introduce us to the concept of Swarupa Lakshana of Brahman and Tatastha Lakshana of Brahman. Swarupa Lakshana means that without which something cannot be. The intrinsic definition of Brahman, which is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, or Sat Chit Ananda, that which is the source of all existence. Everything exists because it exists, and that which is all knowing and which is all pervasive and limitless, and that is called Swarupa Lakshana. Then we have, but that is not enough. That kind of a Lakshana is insufficient, because it's one thing to say, Brahman is this and I am free of everything. It's nice to say that, but in order to see that really, we need to reckon with the next definition of what is the connection between Brahman and the Jagat. The manifest universe belongs, we said, this is just a summary of the earlier session, the morning session. The manifest universe belongs to an order of reality that is not as real as Satchidananda. Why? Because it is a kalpita. Kalpita means it is a creation. It is a projection. So in that sense, what is it? The universe is not something that is non-existent, because a non-existent Jagat cannot give you problems. If you are going on the road, a non-existent pothole on the road cannot give you some kind of a back pain if you go over it. But at the same time, an existent Jagat, which is problematic, is ontologically problematic for us, because it does not, that means the problems are permanent. The problems are here to stay, and the problems are very impossible to remove. So therefore, what we say is that the Jagat has an iffy existence, meaning it is totally dependent upon Brahman, and that Brahman is you. And we talked about how it is dependent upon Brahman in the sense of all things are jada, inert. Their existence has to be cognized by a sentient entity, and that entity is you. And this sentience which you share, in which the human being shares in common with Ishvara, with Brahman, that is where the equation is made between oneself and Ishvara. Not on the level of prowess or overlordship, etc. There one comes up short, because we are the human being, the jiva, is connected to this upadhi, and a limited upadhi, a finite body, mind, sense complex, whereas Ishvara has an infinite body, mind, sense complex. There is no, all bodies are the bodies of Ishvara. It's infinite upadhi. And so it's like the relationship between the wave and the ocean. And the wave is nothing but the ocean. But at the same time, when we look at the upadhi, the shape and name and form called wave, And then when we look at the shape, name, form called the ocean, the two don't seem to have anything in common. The wave has a complex. I am small. I am not all. How can I be the ocean? I am not the ocean. I am just a small little thing. And so what does it need? It needs a guru, a guru who waves and tells it, a wave guru, a waving guru who says, but not a wavery guru, okay? A waving guru who says, you are the ocean. Because if anybody touches you, they touch the ocean. What are you made up of? Oh, they say I'm made up of water. What is the ocean made up of? Ocean is also made up of water. So on that level, you transcend the finite, limited upadhi, the container called the jiva, and you also transcend the infinite upadhi called Ishvara. And on the level of Satchidananda, that existent, sentient consciousness, which never comes to an end, there alone we have the equation. And therefore, both the definitions of Brahman are important. Otherwise, how are you going to live in the universe? So basically, the universe does not enjoy the same order of reality as Brahman. We have been looking into that. How do you say so? Because in the same manner, the clay does not enjoy the same reality as the pot. The pot and the clay have a connection. What is the connection? Karya Karana connection. Karya means what? Karya means effect. Karana, cause. There is a cause-effect connection in the sense that the clay is the cause and the pot is the karya, effect. Now, as we can see, the karya, the effect is non-separate from the cause. Is it not? So, if you say pot, really, what is pot? The pot is nothing but clay. The weight of the pot is the weight of clay. The color of the pot is the color of the clay. And the smell of the pot is nothing but the smell of clay. In fact, the whole pot is clay. Whole pot is clay. But then, is the clay pot? No. We have already seen this yesterday. We saw this example. Pot is clay. Clay is not pot. So, in relation to clay, the pot is called, we cannot say that the pot is non-existent. Yet we cannot say the pot is existent because the existence belongs to clay, not to the pot. And so what is the reality of the pot? We have a specific word, mithya. Mithya means it is a dependent reality. That which depends on something else is called mithya. So what does mithya depend on? Mithya has to depend on that which is real, because it is neither real nor unreal. So it has to depend on that which is completely real. And so therefore what? Mithya is the name or the reality statement for the pot. Pot is mithya. Pot is mithya, and then clay is satyam. Satyam means real, unchanging, same. So in relation to the Jagat and Brahman also, Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. The Jagat is Mithya. Mithya, mind you, doesn't mean false. Doesn't mean non-existent. Mithya means that which is dependent reality. Mithya has two definitions. That which depends on Sat, one definition, and that which is non-separate from Sat. In fact, it is Mithya is Sat. Sat is not Mithya. That's why I keep saying Brahman, Jagat is Brahman, Brahman is not the Jagat. So Sat, Mithya is Sat, Sat is not Mithya. And then what? So therefore, we have a very nice verse Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Jagat is Mithya. So the first definition is Adhisthana Ananyat. It is non-separate from Sat. Sat is not Mithya, but Mithya is Sat. Then what? Then it is dependent on Sat. That is the first definition of Mithya. The second definition of Mithya is Sat Asadbhyam Anirvachya. Anirvachya means you cannot say it is existent, and at the same time you cannot say it is non-existent. That is the reality called Mithya. Same thing, you look at anything. The body, is it existent? Yes, I can look at myself in the mirror, in a cell phone photo. When I'm trying to take a selfie, I can look at myself. And so, yes, the body is existent, but then what happens? It is changing all the time. It is not really real. It is born, it is subject to death. It is subject to what we call, what is that? Shad Vikaraha, the 6 kinds of modifications. It is subject to the many kinds of modifications. It grows old, it changes, it dies, and it becomes infirm. All these things is subject to huge numbers of modifications, even as we speak. And so therefore Mithya is you cannot say the body is existent, meaning it's not like Sat, unchanging, infinite, and the same all the time. You cannot say that at all. At the same time, you cannot dismiss the body as non-existent because it is available for transaction. The whole Mithya is like this. The whole Mithya world is exactly like this. Anything you take is like that. And to illustrate this further, in the tradition, we have two other verbs. Bhati. Even here we saw in verse number 4 or 5 the word bhati, abhati. So bhati shines. Shines means how? Like the sun shines. And then that which is Sat, that we can say bhati. It has its own shine, self-illumining, self-shining Atma, I, bhati. And then what? Atma or Brahman, bhati. And the rest of it what? Anubhati, shines after. Like the moon and the planets, they shine after the sun. The sun is the original shine, and the others are just shining after. So this is this is the connection. That's why in the Mundaka Upanishad we have a very nice mantra, Arati mantra. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kuto yamagnihi tameva bhantamanubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. So, what does it mean? Na tatra suryo bhati. There means in that self-shining self. You don't need the light of the sun to reveal the self. Just like the sun cannot be revealed with a torch, with a flashlight. It is not requiring that at all. Similarly, this I need not be revealed by any other force in the world because it is self-revealing I. And then na tatra suryo bhati. And then what else is not there? Na chandra tarakam. The stars and the stars and the moon also need not be there. They are also not there. The stars and the moons are not there, and the fire is not there, and the vidyut means the what is that called? Lightning is not there. Nothing is there. Then what is there? Its light alone is there. In fact, the sun shines because I shine. The sun illumines the whole Jagat, true. But then who is the one that says, I am the one who objectifies the sun? Who is the one who objectifies the sun? Who is the one who objectifies the moon? That is me alone. And so therefore, this, if we can call it that, original shine, this original shine belongs to the Atma, aka Brahman, and then everything else is a pale reflection of that self-evident I, the whole Jagat. So the Jagat is non-separate from Brahman, non-separate from Sat, but Sat transcends the Jagat. This much we have to understand. So let us go further. Let us look at this. Verse number 7. Anantam vibhum sarvayonim niriham shivam sangahinam yadomkara gamyam निराकारमत्युज्ज्वलं मृत्युहीनं परं ब्रह्म नित्यं तदेवाहमस्मि. Anantam, that which is limitless, never comes to end. Antam na vidyate, antaha na vidyate yasya. Anantam, anantam na vidyate, that which has no end. And that which is all over the place, meaning all pervasive, vibhu, sarva yonim, sarvasya yonihi, that which is the cause of everything. Yoni means cause, the source of everything, the cause of everything. Niriham means that which is changeless. Niriha, changeless and motionless. This is what it is. Then Shivam. Shivam means that which is auspicious, that which is free of guilt, hurt, pains, sorrows, fears, regrets, etc. Auspicious. Niriham, Shivam. Sangahinam, that which is unaffected by anything else. Why? Because the whole thing that one is dealing with is mithya. Mithya cannot affect Satya. Just like the pot cannot affect clay. The pot cannot attack clay because pot is clay. That's how it is. So Sangahinam, clay is not pot. So the clay is clay, pot is clay. And so Sangahinam means uninvolved, even though it is lending its existence and its shine, its knowledge to all things in the universe, itself is not affected by anything with which it is associated. And then to understand this more, you can go back to what? You can go back to that example of the crystal with a yellow cloth, pink cloth, green cloth, and then you have various colors of crystals, but those crystals are not affected by the cloth which is put behind them. That is why Sangahinam, Shivam, pure, freed of papa and punya, no karmic legacies, and no pain, no sorrow, no nothing. And then, and Omkara Gamyam. Gamyam, understood by the word Om. Very, very nice. This Om is a word that means both Tatastha Lakshana and Swarupa Lakshana. It is a word, it is a syllable that, it is used in the Upanishad. It is loaded. It's a syllable that is loaded with intentionally with the meaning of Bhagavan, both as Tatastha Lakshana and as Swarupa Lakshana. How? Because the word Om is formed with the syllables A, U, and Ma. And each one is loaded with some kind of a, by the Upanishad, with certain values. What is A? The waker, Vishwa, who is connecting to the waking world, Virat. That is just symbolized. Let the word A stand for the waker, the Upanishad says. And the waker is not waking up in a vacuum. There is a waking world. The world is awake. A world is expanding. And the waker relates to this waking world. And so Vishwa, the individual waker, and Virat, the total Ishvara in the form of the waking world, Virat. And then we have Vishwa Virat, and then we have the dreamer. The dreamer connect the Taijasa dreamer. Taijasa dreamer, and this Taijasa relates to on the collective level Hiranyagarbha. Ishvara in a causal form. Ishvara in the form of that power which is ready to create. This is Hiranyagarbha. The potential to create is called Hiranyagarbha. So Ishvara is in a form that is ready to create, the potential to create, and so that is the dream world. And the Upanishad says, let Makara stand for the sleeper. And the sleeper, which is Prajna, Prakarshena Agnya, relates to the world of Ishvara. In fact, the sleeper is non-separate from Ishvara while asleep. Prajna, Ishvara, Makara. So when the ma together they form a sandhi. Om. And after the there is a little silence. After one om, there is a silence. Before the next om, there is a silence. So if you chant Om, 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 there is that silence. That silence is also laden with a meaning. That silence is Turiya. Turiya means you. You who is not the waker, not the waking world, not the dreamer, not the dream world and the world of that is about the potential to create. Not the sleeper, not the sleeping world. But that consciousness, that sentient consciousness without which none of these can exist. But which exists without any of them, which is self-standing, free, and is able to exist without all of them. This is what is Om. And in the Kathopanishad, this Omkara is very, very, is talked about also by Lord Yama. And he talks of it and he explains it to Nachiketa. Omka, yat alambanam. So Jagataha alambanam. It is that upon which the entire world depends. The universe depends on which, that is Om. And the Om is independent of which universe, that is also Om. The Sagunam Brahma, the Bhagavan in a manifest form, like we invoke in the temples, Vishnu, Krishna, etc., that is also Om. And Satchidanandam Brahma, that Bhagavan from the standpoint of the intrinsic definition, the Swarupa Rakshana is also Om. And so this is what it is. Very, very beautiful, this Om, Om, Om. This is how to chant. And the more you are in Om, the more you are at home with yourself. And that is what is called Omkara Gamyam. When you know Omkara, you know you know yourself. When you know the meaning of the word Omkara, you know Bhagavan. How? As yourself. This Omkara is called Pranava, Prakarshena Navaha, that which is ever new, never old, ever fresh. Pranava. So then, Nirakaram. Nirakaram is formless, no form. Which form? All forms are Bhagavan's forms, but Bhagavan himself, herself, you can't even say himself or herself, no gender, no form. Nirakaram. Brahman has no form. Ati Ujjvalam, of the biggest of shines, very resplendent, shining, shining, shining. Mrityu Hinam, free of time, deathless, free of time. And that deathless Brahman, which is free of time, which is there all the time, which is that limitless one, that alone I am. I am that alone, nothing other than this. That alone I am. Very, very nice. Then we go to verse number 8. Okay. Yeah. Yadananda sindhau nimagnav puman syat avidya vilasas samasta prapanchah yadana spuratyadbhutam yannimitam param brahma nityam tadevahamasmi yadananda sindhau nimagnav puman syat avidya vilasah samasta prapanchah yadana spuratyadbhutam yannimitam param brahma nityam tadevahamasmi. Ananda sindhau, in the ocean of limitlessness. In the ocean of limitlessness, Ananda Sindhau, then what happens? Nimagnaha Puman. Puman means person. Person is Nimagna. Nimagna means immersed. Immersed. Nimagnaha, immersed. When a person, Puman, Syat, when the person is what? Ananda Sindhau Nimagnaha. He has dived into the ocean of limitlessness. What is this ocean of limitlessness? Your own nature. And how is this ocean of limitlessness revealed? By going to a teacher and studying, and we saw all those things. By going to a teacher, by studying, by being with the teacher and understanding that there is no other way to overcome self-ignorance other than exposure to Vedanta. There is no other way. Absolutely not. And so therefore what? So therefore this understanding is paramount, that this I am this Brahman, and when this understanding is gained, it's as though you are swimming or immersed deeply in a placid lake. No disturbance from outside, no disturbance from within. And then as you are in this lake, dipping in this lake, then over there is a little ripple, and it becomes quiet. Over this side of the lake, there is a little eddy, some kind of a little whirlpool, something happens, then it becomes quiet. What is that? And the author very beautifully in this metaphor says, it is exactly like the Jagat. Samasta prapanchaha. It is like the Jagat. How is the Jagat? The Jagat is like a little ripple in the ocean of consciousness, limitless consciousness. A little ripple, a little, a little appearance. That's all it is. Just like when the children throw a pebble into a lake, then, as the pebble sinks and as the pebble enters the surface of the water, it creates some kind of ripples. The whole Jagat, about which we complain all the time, about which the person says, I can't handle it, it is too much, I don't know where to go, I can't do this, I can't do that, help, I need help, I have no support, I have no friends, I have no money. Different people's complaints. They are just like this. I have no friends, I have no money, I have, nothing at all. I need a break, I need help, I need a holiday. Then the holiday itself was stressful. After that, I need a holiday. From the holiday, I need another holiday. All these things. What are they? Just mere ripples on the surface of the ocean of awareness. And why do these ripples come? Avidya vilasaha. The ripples are caused by pebbles of ignorance. The play of ignorance. So the pebble of ignorance, meaning I'm no good. That's the pebble. The pebble of ignorance hits this oceanic consciousness and causes a little ripple. That's all it is. That is the universe. How much effect does a little pebble have on a vast lake? No effect at all. Similarly, for a jnani, for a person of knowledge who understands these teachings very well, for such a person, there is nothing here. Nothing at all. There is no disturbance. In fact, the jagata prayah, jagatah, jagatah, of this Jagat Vismriti Prayah. The Jagat is mostly Jagat Vismriti Prayah. There is a saying, means the Jagat is mostly forgotten. When is it forgotten? When you're not always worried about what it is doing to me, because now you have other things to do. You have your own, you're not relying upon the Jagat for your validation and for your mental health, emotional health, financial health, nothing. The Jagat is just coming along like a shadow. You keep on walking and you're not scared of the shadow because you have cast the shadow. Your light casts the shadow, so you're not worried about the shadow. But again, the shadow is shady, so it belongs in its own place and it is not real. It is not as real as you. That's why if you walk on the water, if you walk near the water and the shadow falls in the body of water, you don't have to dry the shadow off with a towel. You don't have to towel the shadow off. Why? Because it is almost non-existence. And here also, this you don't give the shadow the time of day. It just comes along where you go. And similarly, the whole Jagat just is there. It is not an object of your hatred, an object of your stress, your worry. It's not a place of conflict. It is a benign expression of Bhagavan. And, there is a verse composed by Adi Shankara which says, Yasya Nishvasitam Vedaha. Nishvasitam is by whom the Vedas were just exhaled. So the whole universe is exhaled by Bhagavan as easily as you inhale and exhale. The whole universe was as though projected by Bhagavan, just like you project objects, people, events, and situations in your dream. The entire Jagat is projected by Bhagavan, is non-separate from Bhagavan, goes back to Bhagavan effortlessly. And so then, so therefore, how do I have to be? I have to not take this seriously. I have to not take all the things in the Jagat seriously. This one is out to get me, that one is out to attack me, this one is bad and that one is an idiot, and this one should have not done this and that one should have not done that. On and on and on and on. On and on. And so therefore, the verse here says, Yadana spurati spurati yat adbhutam yan nimittam yad adbhutam means which cause, that causeless cause. This is it is wondrous, the wondrous cause. What does it mean, the wondrous cause? That the ripples appear to cause a disturbance on that which is not connected to the even though the person is dipped in the ocean or the placid lake, the ripples of the ocean do not belong to the person. Similarly, when the person is a jnani, immersed in the lake of self-delight, self-awareness and consciousness, in that lake of Ananda, the person is immersed. So any kind of difficulties and disturbances by the Jagat do not cause disturbance in the person of knowledge, which is the reason to study Vedanta. This is one of the main reasons to study Vedanta. That the Jagat does not overwhelm me, does not overpower me, does not do anything to me. I am free of the Jagat. Yada naspurati. So when you are with yourself, the Jagat has no problem at all. That it does not pose any problems. Then that's why you are able to say, oh, today was a good day. Good day means what? Nothing bothered me. I was able to go about my day without getting bothered. by people, things, situations, etc., that's a good day. And we wish, everybody wishes one another, have a good day. I really didn't know what that meant, but I suppose this is what it is. Have a good day means may the day not have many attacks from the Jagat. And in fact, even if if you are attacked by the Jagat, if you are blindsided by the people in the Jagat, it is not you who is getting affected. It is the mind, it is the senses, it is all on that level alone. This is what it is. Param Brahma Nityam Tadeva Aham Asmi. Very, very beautiful. And Yadananda Sindhau Nimagnaha Puman Syat. Yeah, we have seen the whole thing. And next one. Let us look at the next one. Eighth verse. One more thing I wanted to see here. Yeah, I want to go back to verse number 6 here, because there are a couple of things I thought that I wanted to address before we go into verse number 9 and 10. So here it says, Yad anandaleshaihi samanandi vishvam. So that which I call Jagat, which is delightful really. I mean, how can you say the Jagat is boring? It's not. Wherever you see, there are colors and there are people going about their day, reproducing their lives. There are people, there are trees, there are so many life forms for which you don't even have time to count the life forms or to get to know them. There are so many life forms. And then you look up at the sky, the galaxies, the stars, and the new James Webb telescope is sending us so many various kinds of photos of the universe. Very, very clear. Hitherto unseen photographs in full resolution and gorgeous color, all of them are coming. And so there is so much to see. And in fact, the world is a delightful place, not a sorrowful place. But then I have a complex. And what is the complex? The complex is that I think of the happiness belonging to Brahman as away from Jagat. And then the popular understanding of various, what is that called? Various shlokas and all in the Upanishads do not help. Even the Bhagavad Gita, when it's not interpreted correctly, people get completely sidetracked and say, oh, you have to control the mind. And here Arjuna is crying in chapter 6, I cannot control the mind. But still these people who think they know, say, you have to control the mind, you have to control the body, you have to control your senses, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to go here, you have to do this. It's just too much. Control the body, control the mind, and then when you control all your desires, then Brahman will come. Can't control the desires. We talked about it yesterday. We learn to manage them. And so therefore, and the other myth, the other popular myth, which is a mistake about Brahman, is that Brahmananda is very, very different from everyday Ananda. Why? Because it is Brahmananda. It has to be different. This is the argument. It has to be completely, totally different. Then how are you going to get the person to leave chocolate cake Ananda for Brahmananda, which the person doesn't even know? Why will the person go from this to the other? And how, if there are two kinds of Ananda, then what happens to non-duality? It takes a hit. You cannot say ekameva dvitiyam, non-dually one, single one. You cannot say. And so what can you say? You can't say anything much. You can't say, you can't say anything much at all. And so therefore you have to allow it to just, allow it to be. And so the Ananda that you experience in the world is but a remnant of this Brahmananda. This is what we have to understand a little more clearly. Oh, so Brahmananda is more. It's not about more or less. It is about that which is finite or infinite. When the object, when the delight or the joy, whatever you want to call it, is based on the object, then it is an object-centered happiness. And this object-centric happiness, what happens to this? It basically has an end, and it has a beginning and an end. Until the object came into sight, I was not happy. Then the object was with me, then I'm happy. And then what? The object went away, and again I am unhappy. So like this, there is a object-centric happiness is always finite, because the objects are finite. Here we are talking about the ananda that is centered on you, and the you being infinite. The ananda is non-separate from you. And so how to understand this? To understand this, one has to give up the subjectivity. More objective, more vairagya, more objectivity, less subjectivity. So I wanted to mention that here. And so verse number 9. Swarupa Anusandhanam stutim yah patedadarat bhakti bhavo manushya shrunoti hava nityam udyukta chittah bhaved vishnuратрайва veda pramanat Swarupa Anusandhanam stutim yah patedadarat bhakti bhavo manushya shrunoti hava nitya amudyukta chittah bhaved vishnuратрайва veda pramanat. So this Swarupa Anusandhana is summing up here. Swarupa Anusandhana Rupam Stutim. Praise. Stuti is praise. The praise of what? Self-inquiry and contemplation. In the praise of self-inquiry in the form of this text. Swarupa Anusandhana Rupam Stutim. Pathed, the one who studies. Pathed, how? Pathed Adarat, the one who studies this with an open-minded respect. Open-minded respect and bhakti and devotion. Manushya, the person who would read this with respect, with an attitude of devotion, etc. Then Shrunoti ihava, either the one who reads it or listens to the teachings. Nityam udyukta chittaha. Udyukta chittaha means attentive mind, not multitasking while taking the class. The body is in the class, and what? The mind is elsewhere. Somebody is playing on some video game on the computer. Another person is doing some multitasking, writing an email. The third person is answering the phone, like that. Not like that. Attentive, where with an unswavering mind. More qualifications for this knowledge are given here. The one who does this with an unswavering mind. Unwavering mind. The mind doesn't swerve from anywhere, from here to there. Attentive mind. The one who has an attentive mind, what happens? Bhavet, would become what? Atra, in this life. Iha, atra, in this life itself. Eva, indeed. What? Vishnuhu bhavet. Becomes that, or Vishnu means all pervasive. Attains Brahman, as oneself. In fact, the word attains must be in apostrophes because there is nothing to attain. You are you already are what you wish to seek, and you are separated from that by what? You are separated from that by by your own ignorance, not by time, space, or action. You're separated from that by ignorance. And so therefore, you would become, you would attain that oneness, and you recognize that you are not separate from Vishnu. You are this Vishnu. Veda Pramanat. Veda Pramanat means two meanings are there according to the promise made by the Veda, Vedanta, or according to the means of knowledge called Vedanta, because exposing yourself to this means of knowledge, Guru Mukhat, with the help of the Guru, hearing it through the mouth of the Guru, then what happens? The person gains this knowledge. This is what, verses 9 and 10 are what are called Phalashruti. Phalashruti means every author knows that nobody does anything without any reason or reward. So Phalashruti means the listing of the rewards of this study. So what will happen to me if I do this study? What will happen to me if my self-ignorance, or when my self-ignorance drops off? What will happen to me? And that is what is said very beautifully in verse number 9. That you don't have to go to Vishnu Loka. You understand right here in this body, not even after death. You understand you alone are Vishnu. There is no other Vishnu than you. And so says the Vedanta, the Pramana, the authority which is Vedanta says that exposing myself to this Pramana, I understand that I'm nothing but Brahman. Then finally, the last word, the verse, Vijnananavam parigrihya kaschit taredyadajnanamayam bhavabdhim jnanasinayo hi vichidya trishnam Vishnof padam yati sa eva dhanyah. Vijnananavam parigrihya kaschit taredyajnanamayam bhavabdhim jnanasinayo hi vichidya trishnam Vishnof padam yati sa eva dhanyah. Vijnananavam parigrihya, having caught hold of, parigrihya, having caught hold of what? Vijnananavam, the boat of self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is the boat. And what is there to cross? The notion of samsara, not even an ocean of samsara. Taret, the one who would cross what? Ajnanamayam. Ajnanamayam means ajnana vikara, the products of ignorance, the broods of ignorance. And what are the broods of ignorance? Vikara, or modification of ignorance, kama. Avidya has a spawn, a child called kama. When the grandchild, kama means desire. Because of this desire, the person keeps on wanting to do this, that, useless things. And that is karma. Karma leads to karma. Karma leads to papa punya, more omissions and commissions, accruing that. And then papa punya leads to punarjanma, rebirth. And therefore, this cycle called samsara continues. Here what happens? I am no longer in a flood sand and a jet sand in this ocean, in this vast ocean of ignorance, which is actually a notion of ignorance. I have now gained this knowledge, having got on the boat of the Shastra. I am on the Shastra boat, and the oars are taking me away from the dysfunctional relationships. And as I move forward, I see that the walls of the boat are made of the words of the Upanishad. The boatman is none other than Bhagavan Krishna. In fact, the same thing is said in the Gita Dhyana shloka. Bhishmadrona tata Jayadratha jala Gandhara nilotpala Shalyagrahavati kripena vahani karnena velakula Ashwathama vikarna ghora makara Duryodhanavartini Sotirna khalu pandavairananadi Kaivartakah Keshavaha. This is what is said in the Gita Dhyana shloka. Bhishma and Drona are the two banks of this horrible river of samsara. Jayadratha is the water. Gandhara, these are all the various kings who are involved in the battle. The Gandhara is a lotus in the river. And Shalya is Grahavati, is a big shark. And then Graha means anything that bites, shark, alligator, etc. Shalya Grahavati, Kripena Vahani. Kripa, the another king, is a riptide. Karnena Vela Kula. No, Kripa is not the riptide. Kripa is the force, Vahani. The force with which the river is going is Kripa. Karnena Vela Kula. And then Karna is the ripples and the tides, the waves on the surface of this river. Akula means terrifying. And then Duryodhana, then Ashwathama, Vikarna, Ghora, Makara. Ashwathama and Vikarna are terrifying alligators in this river of samsara. Then what else? Then the terrifying alligators. Duryodhana Avartini. Duryodhana is the hidden, sneaky kind of a whirlpool undercurrent. You think it's fine and you know how to swim, and you go inside and then you are swept up because it catches hold of your leg. That is Duryodhana. But still the Pandavas crossed this water. How? He is terrifying. Sa Uttirna Pandavaihi Rananadi. This terrifying river of blood. This terrifying river of battle. How did they cross? Sa Uttirna Katham Kaivartakaha Keshavaha. Keshava, Bhagavan, Krishna, Eva happened to be the boatman. Very beautiful imagery that is there in the Bhagavad Gita, because it is a kind of a extrapolation, because he was driving the chariot. See, Bhagavan driving the chariot means what? Every arrow has to first hit Krishna before it hits Arjuna. He could deflect all the arrows, even though he said, I'm not taking part in the war. He could do all kinds of things. It was just very, very amazing. He could do all kinds of things. And so here, this self-knowledge is my only refuge. Self-knowledge is this is the boat. This is the boat, and Bhagavan is driving this boat out of the danger of the alligators of doubt, the sharks of despair, and the stingrays of revenge, jealousy, anger, etc., and the seaweeds of dysfunctional relationships. Here I'm caught in all this and I'm thinking it is samsara, and Vijnana Nauka comes. Oh, it's going to rescue me. Yes, but not in the way that you think. It's going to rescue you by saying you don't need to be saved. You are already saved. You are already saved. That is the teaching. We don't have a salvific theology. We don't say you need to be saved. You are already saved. You are already free. And you have to understand that. You have to understand that. Tared Ajnanamayam. Ajnanamayam means that which is the products of ignorance, such as kama, krodha, etc. And then Bhavabdhim, the ocean of samsara. Bhava means becoming. Abdhi means ocean. Bhavabdhi means the ocean of becoming, where one always wants to become something or the other when all the time. Bhaved, Bhavabdhim taret. How taret? How to do that? Jnana asina. Jnana asina. Asina means the scythe, the sickle. The sickle or the sword of knowledge. By cutting the cords of dysfunction with the swords of knowledge. By cutting the cords of longings. Vichidya. Vichidya means cutting. having cut Trishna, I want this, I want that. All the longings are called Trishna. And when you just swish back and forth, when you go swish, swish with the sword of knowledge, the sword of Viveka, Vairagya, discrimination, and Brahma Jnanam, the sword of Brahma Jnanam, you go swish, swish, all the longing drops to the wayside. All the longing drops to the wayside. Vishnoho Padam Yati, and gains that Brahman which is all pervasive, which is oneself. Vishnoho Paramam Padam Yati. Sa eva dhanyah, that person alone is blessed, very, very much blessed. So, that was the last verse. In conclusion, what I would like to say is that this knowledge of Brahman, Brahma Jnanam, what does it entail? You know what it entails? It entails something which is wonderful. It entails the reduction of subjectivity and the reduction of subjectivity and the increase in objectivity. That is what it entails. The whole thing is based on that. So when I come to the knowledge, I am basically having no understanding at all. And I think, therefore, everything is separate from me. I am separate from everything else. Everything is out to get me. I am helpless, hopeless, and under the spell of all kinds of people and situations. This is what the thinking is. The thinking is that. And then coming to the knowledge, I see that actually there are two jagats. There is the jagat that is in my head, and then there is the actual jagat. And the two are not the same. There is a vast gap between the two. In fact, the jagat outside is benign, is objective. And the jagat in my head is very much subjective. Very much subjective. It is not, it is not objective at all. It is definitely very much subjective. And it is based, and what do I mean by subjective? It is based on my strong preferences, strong prejudices. It is based on a lot of pains, sorrows, needs that were not met, all kinds of things. It's based on what I think I want from the Jagat and I'm not getting. It is based on seeing the Jagat as some kind of a milch cow, and it is meant just to fulfill my desires, of which there are many, because I don't understand that I'm not a wanting person. I think I have to be accomplished. I think I have to be validated. I think I have to be famous. I think I have to be rich in order in order to matter, in order to get rid of the insecurity centered on the self. This is the subjective projection on the Jagat. The Jagat simply is. And it is an extension of you. It is mithya. It cannot really make the Satya into a Purna individual. That Purnatvam is yourself alone. Nothing can make you Purna because you're already Purna. And this is what we have to understand in Vedanta Shastra. And then when you understand this in Vedanta Shastra, what happens? You get an objectivity. You see the Jagat as it is, and we have discussed this already. So the interim step is to Ishwarize the Jagat, to make it that which is given by Ishvara first, and that which is created by Ishvara first step. And then the second step is to see it as a manifestation of Ishvara. Wherever there is Jagat, I see Ishvara. This is whatever is there, I see as Ishvara. And then I understand finally that this Ishvara is none other than me alone. And when you understand this, that is what is the crux of Vedanta Shastra, which this Vijnana Nauka is unfolding, has unfolded as a way of keeping, what is that, rising above the sorrow, the pain, etc., by understanding that it does not have any effect on me at all. And so, somebody had asked for a little bit of a meditation. So we will do that now. And I will guide you through it. And then we will conclude. Okay. So maybe 15-20 minutes we can do a little bit of a meditation. So wherever you are, sit comfortably. Head, neck, and back are in a single straight line. Eyes softly closed. I start by paying attention to the breathing without changing the rhythm of the breath. I simply watch the breathing. The cool air entering the nostrils, the slightly warm air exiting the nostrils. Before we begin the meditation, there is an advice given in the Bhagavad Gita. Sparshan bahyan bahihi kritva dhyayet. May one meditate after keeping the outside world outside. The outside world of names and forms, namely the Jagat, does not belong, does not have a role when I want to go within. And when I look deeply, it is only some portions of the outside world that trouble me, not the whole world. For example, I now visualize a range of mountains. In relation to these mountains, I am a free person, non-demanding, appreciative, contented, happy. Why? Because I do not have an agenda for the mountains. I do not wish for them to be a certain way, taller, shorter, etc. I'm happy however they are. Next, I visualize a river. Again, in relation to the river, I don't feel bound. I'm free. I am objective, non-demanding, contented. Can I retain this same demeanor with regard to people? Perhaps people in general, but not people specifically, especially if one is close to those people. I visualize the mother. This is how my mother was or is in my perception. Now, visualizing the mother is very, very different. We can see from visualizing the river. Very different. Why? Because the river is outside. The mother is outside, but also inside in the form of unfulfilled expectations, in the form of worry, in the form of concern. Therefore, retaining the love and the care for the mother, I grant her the freedom to be who she is, who she was, in my perception. When I'm able to do this, the extent to which I'm able to do this, I have objectivity with regard to the mother. Father, same thing. I visualize the father. I grant him this understanding, this is who the father was or is in my perception. I let him have the freedom to be whoever he was, whoever he is, in my perception. Retaining the care for. I grant him the freedom to be whoever he was, whoever he is. The extent to which I'm able to do this, I am free. The father is no longer inside the head. The mother is no longer internalized. Om Namaha. Om Namaha. Om Namaha. Then I visualize this body. This is how the body is. Many things about this body I cannot change. Height, weight, color of skin, etc. I accept the body however it is. I grant it the freedom to be however it is. Om Namaha. Om Namaha. Om Namaha. Om Now I come to the mind. This is how the mind is. Fickle, restless, fearful. I am not the mind. I am the observer of the mind. I'm much more than the body. I'm that sentient consciousness who is the observer of the body, of the breathing, of the mind. I am a simple conscious being who is relating to Bhagavan in the form of a mantra. For today, we will just use Om Namah Shivaya. Just chant it softly, and whenever there is a interruption, a distraction, that's okay. You just bring it back to the mantra. Chant now. Allowing the chant to stop. Recognizing the calm that comes from this time spent with oneself, spent with Ishvara as oneself. If you are comfortable being who you are, acknowledge that to yourself. I am comfortable being myself, which means I do not need any comforting from anybody at all, at least for today. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. When you are ready, you can slowly open your eyes. And then, if there are any questions, you can please read them to me, and I will answer them.
Sure, Swami. Thank you so much once again. It was a very good, very silence, the meditation. Thank you so much. So the first question is, what are the syllables in Om?
A, U, and These are the syllables.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next, when I see people around in suffering, I am disturbed. How do I react?
Yeah. So that disturbance comes from the the two things. Yeah, 1 second. I'll come on this side because this is fixed. I will leave here. Now we are back. So I had to restart the computer. I don't know what happened. So two things are happening if there is disturbance. One is the general human empathy. And what is the general human empathy? The general human empathy is that one is wired. One is wired to feel something when other fellow beings are suffering. Naturally, one is wired. One says, "Oh my God, something is happening. I can relate to that. It could very well be me." So this is the general human empathy. This is the first reason why there is pain and why I am disturbed. The second reason why there is pain and disturbance is because that suffering of somebody else touches some deep part of me, some unresolved issue from the past is suddenly brought up, is triggered. I see somebody crying, and because they didn't get their way, and all the times that I didn't get the way, somehow there is that connection, and so this is where I get disturbed. These are the two reasons. First of all, these feeling of disturbance is there. Then the second thing is, what can I do about it? This is the first is to say is to see that this suffering, or whatever whatever appears as this suffering, we have to understand that it is from the standpoint of the relative but not absolute standpoint. So when you are disturbed, first thing to do is to see within and see what is it that is touching within me. Is it painful because of some issue that I'm reminded of? So my own wanting nature is brought up, or my own fear, my own desire, my own pain, my own sorrow, something is brought up. Is that why there is this feeling? Then you get into the place of the observer and you can see that the feeling is mithya. You can do something about it. You can pray. You can take a walk. You can change the channel, in the mind. Like when you're watching a horror movie on TV and it is scaring you out of existence, you don't continue to watch it. You quickly go like this with the remote. Here you too take the remote on the head and go like this. That's what you have to do. You change the channel quickly. You don't be in that place of pain, of sorrow, of difficulty, etc. You don't go there. You don't be there. You change the channel, take a walk, go somewhere or do something, put some, do some errand. And then when you change the channel, you understand that you falsify the disturbance. You don't wallow and marinate in the disturbance. This is the idea. This is for the short term. Long term, again, if that pain is recurrent and chronic, then you can do something about it. Yoga, any kind of act of self love, including the study of the Upanishad, yoga, therapy, all these things will help a lot. And then being in a calm state of mind, surrounding yourself with input, because we put all kinds of, just like we don't eat everything that we see, similarly we can't expose ourselves to all kinds of stimulations from the outer world. You have to be selectively consuming. You don't watch everything that comes your way. You don't do everything that we don't indulge in everything. So then that means you make the space for that calmness, for that shanti to rise. Very good question. Are there anything
Yes.
else? Okay.
Yes. How does one reach the Brahmananda state?
Yeah, you are already in Brahmananda. You don't reach because it is never away from you. So you can't reach there. You cannot go there. You cannot understand. It's not away from you. You have to understand it. And then how do you understand it? Keep attending classes like these. That's what it is. Keep immersing yourself in the knowledge, and then it becomes clearer and clearer. Yeah.
Wonderful. Another question. When I say I'm separated from Brahman, is it separation from my thought or separation by ignorance?
Separate.
Suppose,
Yeah.
suppose I am in the thought that I am Brahman, then am I enjoined with Brahman?
Yeah, you are not enjoying with Brahman, you are Brahman, so you are enjoying as Brahman. ah. And it is not, Brahman is not a thought, it is you. And separation is due to ignorance. That's the only thing that separates you. It's a notion of separation. It's like a small child crying for its mother, even though the mother is right there, it doesn't know. That's what it is. So similarly, the jiva separated from the source is an as though separation because you can never be separated. There's only one thing. There are no two things. So the separation or the feeling of being bereft is because I don't know Brahman as myself. That's why.
Right. Wonderful. We have one question on Swadharma and Swabhava. Is it relevant to ask here,
Oh,
Swaminiji?
sure. Are
Okay.
they? Yeah. So dharma and swabhava, are
Yeah.
they unchanging? Swabhava is not swadharma. Swabhava means your nature. Swadharma means what you were born to do and how to do, how to express the purpose of your life in the everyday. That is swadharma. And can they be changed? If it is easy, sure. But if supposing somebody has two left feet and they want to have Swadharma as a dancer, it's going to be very, very difficult. If somebody is tone deaf and wants to be MS Subbu Lakshmi, it's going to be very, very difficult. You're not going to be able to do it. The fellow cannot carry a tune. So the Swadharma must be in keeping with your talents, in keeping with your limitations. That is Swadharma. And if you can find something else to do that is in keeping with your talents and limitations, sure, go ahead, no problem. It can be changed.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much, Swamini ji. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience to go through the text along with your guidance and also to conclude with the meditation.
Yes, yes, it all
Uh,
worked out thanks to people's requests. It happened. Thank you again for inviting me and look forward to seeing you again in some other context.
definitely. Definitely.
Oh, and please
Oh,
send me the recording after we are done. You have my
sure.
email.
Sure.
Or
Sure.
on WhatsApp, whichever one. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Om.